Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be featuring some battles that I did on stream with Rhyperior, Lugia, and Dragonite, and this team was super strong, really good. This is a team that was created by Jonkus with the buff Mudslap and nerfed Breaking Swipe. So many Ho-Oh and Dialga leads. This team was absolutely amazing. Went 20 and 5, 80% win rate. Got my elo at 2366. So we're going to show off all the battles here. You can check them out on twitch.tv/kingiv or on my YouTube live streams here. So I do like to switch out here. There's definitely, well, I can't remember if actually this one I decided to play out. I'm not exactly sure why I decided to play out. They end up throwing on alignment here, which was an interesting play. And that's my dog. And then I'm going to bait with the Breaking Swipe. The Rock Record doesn't KO. It does do quite a bit of damage, but doesn't quite KO. And then they throw on alignment again, which I found pretty interesting. I will let this one go. And then I will attempt to farm down. They actually come into Dialga. But this is obviously a very favorable matchup for Rhyperior, though I am pretty low. I do throw the Breaking Swipe. I decide to stay here because, as you can see, these nerfed Dragon Breaths are really not doing... Well, I actually don't remember if it got nerfed. Okay, that time I didn't get the nerf. But you can see here, Rhyperior pretty tanky. I'm actually going to be able to make it to another Breaking Swipe, which is super nice. We'll see if I get the nerf this time. I do not, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to let this go and farm all the way down. Let Lugia soak all this damage. You can see the Iron Head doesn't do that much. They'll be able to reach another Iron Head, which is totally fine for me. I'm going to let it go. Z2 does have some energy, but you have to be a little bit careful here. But let's see what decides to come in. And the opponent decides to leave. So it works out pretty nicely for me. All right. But yeah, this team was super nice. Picked up a lot of nice leads. Obviously, fairy types are kind of challenging for this team because they do have the fighting coverage move. As you can see, fairy right here. So the way I like to play this is I like to go to 7. And then, as you can see, these Mudslaps are really chipping away at this Xerneas here. And usually they throw at 7 when they double up. I do hope that they throw the close combat because it would be very nice to make a catch here, which they do end up throwing the close combat. And they're staying in, farming up energy, which makes sense because they double resist Dragon Tail. And they actually come into Rayquaza here. So they must be quite weak to Lugia in the back. So I will throw the Sky Attack. They don't throw right away, which I find kind of a little weird there. They throw the Breaking Swipe. Lugia is such a tank, so I'm going to be able to reach the Sky Attack. We'll see if this is enough. It is debuffed. And it is enough. And we're going to see... The opponent decides to leave again. Okay, it works out pretty nicely for me. So, again, fairy types can be tricky. I do try to catch the second close combat. If they do end up throwing, I probably will end up shielding. Sometimes I play it out, though, and then try to bait or go for the Rock Wrecker and then try to catch. I don't know. It's kind of a... Depends on the situation here. So this is actually a little bit of a tricky lead because I do want to throw right away to reduce the Dragon Breath damage. And then as well, in open Masters, you're no longer able to just one shield farm down. So I do end up having to throw. And I will end up shielding this move. And then trying to go for the farm down. We'll see if they let me. Okay, they will end up letting me farm down. And they come to Kyogre. I decide to switch here and save the Rhyperior. I'm not sure it's the right call, but I obviously could stay, throw the Rock Wrecker, and then hope that I can sweep in the back. And then throw the Rock Wrecker and then come in Dragonite, which is obviously a much better matchup versus the Kyogre. They actually decide to... And then they make a very interesting call here. They actually end up shielding this move. And then it's kind of a 50-50 call play for me here. So I do have the Rock Record banked. So we'll throw the Breaking Swipe, hoping to get the bait. If I don't get the bait, I lose here. If I do get the bait, then I'm definitely going to survive and make it to the Rock Wrecker, which is super nice for me. And this Rock Wrecker does a tremendous amount of damage. And since this Kyogre is very low and only has a water charge moves, presumably. I'm in a very dominant position there. It worked out pretty well for me. And I guess I should adjust my camera up a little bit here so you can see the full background here. This is, again, a tricky lead as well. Usually I do 5 and then throw the breaking swipe at good timing. It obviously doesn't do that much damage to Metagross, but I want to reduce the damage of giving a free move. And they actually end up throwing right away, which is better for me because I end up sneaking a full Mud Slap through. And then I should be able to farm down. They actually come into Hydreigon here. I'm not necessarily sure what the right play is to stay. I guess I could stay, or I could go into Lugia. I try to farm down. I shield the Brutal Swing. I try to farm down. I'm not able to quite farm down. I do end up surviving this Brutal Swing, but this was pretty brutal here. They throw the Brutal Swing, and I'm just gonna throw here. Obviously, I could do one Drag Breath and then throw. That probably would have been better, but I wasn't sure it was going to come in, so I just wanted to make sure I got the move off. And I'm going to throw this second Dragon Claw, which the Metagross just barely ends up surviving. And they come into Garchomp, but this is pretty good for me. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Breaking Swipe, and this is game over here. Does pretty, and I get the attack fall, and really there's nothing that this Garchomp can do. I double resist the mud shots, and you see these outrages are debuffs, so that works out pretty nicely for me. Plus the Metagross was super low. It's not really too much they could do at that stage. And we are going to have Rhyperior into Dialga. And we're going to see how we're going to play this. They come into Xerneas. And here I actually go for the bait. They're already at 7, but they haven't thrown yet. And then now I'm going to catch the move, hoping that it's going to be the close combat. Ends up being the Moonblast. That's a little bit unfortunate for me. And they're going to be able to reach another Moonblast. And this is actually a very tricky situation for me. And I am going to have to shield so that I can survive and get this move off. And they come back in with Dialga, which is a nice play on their side. And I'm going to land the Aeroblast, actually get the boost here, which is, maybe, I'm not sure, better or worse for me. I come into Rhyperior. Maybe I guess the Breaking Swipe wouldn't have KO'd there, but maybe I could have came into, I will attempt to farm them down, which I do end up getting the farm down. I'm seeing what comes in. It's a Kyogre. I will throw the Rock Wrecker at this Kyogre and then look to switch, but this is a pretty tough situation for me, unfortunately. Especially down a shield. And yes, not too much I can do. I do throw the superpower at them, and I will be able to farm down this Xerneas, but it's going to be a little bit too much for me to deal with. Maybe I could have attempted not to throw at the Xerneas, but it would have been too tough there. So I decided to go for the Rock Wrecker because the Breaking Swipe wouldn't have KO'd, but they're going to be able to easily waterfall me down. So nicely played by the opponent. Really well played by them. And we'll go into this next set. So I ended up going, I did really well with this team. Again, shout out to Jonkus for showing me this team. Rhyperior, I believe Rhyperior is a C-Day Pokemon. So people should have a sufficient amount of XL if they played that C-Day or the classic one. Not sure if I had a classic yet, but all right, pick up another. This is like all day. It was like these leads here. They come into Zacian, and as you can see here, I will catch the close combat here, hopefully. And they do end up starting the close combat. And we will see how they decide to play this. I will let this go. We'll see what they decide to throw here. And they end up throwing the Wild Church. So that means the Sky Attack will KO. And they end up shielding. I will let this go. No point in fighting out because, well, not no point in fighting out, but they come back in with Dialga. I guess they were trying to catch the Rock Wrecker. And I will throw the Breaking Swipe. Maybe there's some argument for me to not throw the second Breaking Swipe and just one shield farm down, but I'm in a pretty decent spot here. I will end up shielding because even though they're twice debuff, it'll still do a decent amount of damage. And I kind of need this Rhyperior for... I'm going to see what comes in, then I'm going to decide to throw. They come into Palkia. We'll throw the Breaking Swipe at them. And then I bank the Breaking Swipe. And then they switch out into Zacian. I will throw the Dragon Claw at them. Even though they do double resist the Dragon Claw, they're pretty low and they want to get off the move here. Maybe there's an argument that I should have no shielded both these Wild Charges. And just sacked it and then farmed down. Save the shield. And then maybe but we're in a pretty good spot here, so I'm not too worried here. Even if they're able to take me out, I do have a Breaking Swipe. Well, they would have to throw. So I'm able to make it to the Dragon Claw and take out the Palkia. Pretty interesting ABA Dragon team. And then actually reach the 100 wins here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up here because you don't want to see me collecting all my research and using my star piece efficiently. Anyways, we're going to go Rhyperior into Dialga. This is like all day Ho-Oh and Ho-Oh and Dialga leads. This Dialga is very underleveled, so I'm trying to test whether I can one shield and just farm it down. And that's what I elect to do. So I need to KO. They actually come into a Groudon. Maybe it's, I don't know what's better here, Dragonite or Lugia. Someone can let me know. Obviously, Dragonite resists both moves, but Lugia is much tankier than Dragonite. And has like a better counterplay versus the Dialga, or at least not easily as farmed down. And I will end up throwing the Sky Attack. As you can see, Lugia's got burned because the fire is still there on the screen. They end up throwing right away, which ends up allowing me to sneak. But I'm in a very good spot here. I'm going to elect to farm them down. I'm not too fussed if they decide if they get to move. They fire punch here, and then I'm going to switch to Rhyperior. And this is a very good situation for me. Melmetal is definitely tricky for the back line. So if they would have sacked the Dialga, then it would have been kind of tricky for me to deal with. So I will end up shielding this move. Even if they Rock Slide bait me, which they actually end up throwing the superpower, I will throw the Breaking Swipe right away. Just to beat them to the move so it can debuff this second superpower. I think I actually missed a bubble there. They actually end up shielding, but this superpower will not KO because they are 3 times debuffed. And they come back in with Dialga. Maybe I could have switched to Lugia, but it doesn't really matter here. I will throw the Sky Attack. And actually will end up reaching the Iron Head. I will farm down. Now the Melmetal's in Dragon Claw range, or just about. So really my main lose con is that they end up catching the move, which is why I don't throw right away. Or can they? Yeah, they can catch the move here. So I will throw the Dragon Claw at this Melmetal, take them out, and they come into Groudon here, and I'm able to Dragon Breath it down. Maybe even if they catch there, I could throw zero bubbles there and still get a little bit of energy, but it would have been pretty tough there because I would have had to have got 1 Dragon Breath on the Dialga, so I would have had to have get like 2 Dragon Breaths off on the So this is a good lead here. This is what I encountered so often here, and oftentimes they stay because they have a Dialga in the back. But this is they actually end up throwing the Brave Bird. This is okay though, because I have another answer, and they come into Dialga. I will throw the Breaking Swipe. They're dry on the Ho-Oh, so we'll throw the Breaking Swipe. Interesting they decided to shield. I guess I could have had an Earthquake. I will throw a Breaking Swipe at them. I'm going to force them to throw. Again, this is under level Dialga. I will let this go and then look to farm them all the way down with Lugia. And because this Dialga is under leveled, it does make this farm down a lot easier. As you can see, the Dragon Breaths are doing significantly more damage than they would be normally. And then I will do 3 and throw the Arrow Blast at them, hoping that they would no shield because they're only down to their last shield here. And then I try to catch here because they're already at 100, but they elect not to throw. Well, maybe not 180, and they come into Zekrom, and this is a very good situation for me. I will throw the. This is also under leveled Zekrom. I will end up shielding this just to force the Ho-Oh to Brave Bird. I guess they could Sacred Fire. I ended up throwing a bad timing there. I think I frame dropped the first Dragon Breath, which is why my counts were a little bit off. But there's not really too much they can do. Even the Lugia would be able to survive a Sacred Fire, so not really too much I could do there. It definitely would have been a more challenging matchup if they had a fully powered up team. But ended up working out pretty well for me. So Rhyperior is really good against these Ho-Oh leads, which are seen to be super popular. Okay, they come into Excadrill. Tricky lead here, just because both my charge moves don't do that much damage. They end up throwing right away, which kind of makes sense because they want to grab the early shield. I would be able to survive that. And they come into Giratina. I will end up switching here. Get no debuff, which is a little bit unfortunate. So this Shadow Ball is going to do quite a bit of damage. And I'm going to farm up a little bit and then throw. I'm going to be able to outpace this drill to the move. But they actually elect to come in Lugia here. And I will try to get as much damage as possible. Throwing a good timing. So the Dragon Claw, I get 2 more Dragon Breaths in. And I come to my own Lugia. Maybe I could have waited the clock there a little bit, but I'm in a pretty good spot, so I'm not too worried. Actually, did I end up getting denied there? Because I didn't get a sneak there. I will farm up, and I will bait with the Sky Attack. They have 2 shields, so I'm assuming they will shield. They actually end up no shielding. And then I will let this go. And they actually end up throwing the Sky Attack, which I easily survive. And then I'm going to switch to Rhyperior, which they will do the same. Oh, they switched their other Pokemon here. I will throw the Breaking Swipe to force a shield, because now my matchup is extremely straightforward. First off, I can get the debuff, which I do end up getting the debuff, which debuffs these mud shots. And I'm going to be able to farm down, and I'm going to be able to throw the Breaking Swipe at the Lugia, and that is going to be a good game there. I believe that's the 5-0. Nope. Okay, actually one more battle here. This was a really fun team. I really enjoyed it. Thankfully I didn't encounter. Actually, I didn't have to safe switch out of Rhyperior too often, to be honest, because I ran into Dialga and Ho-Oh leads all day, and they come into Landorus here. Maybe I could have thrown the Breaking Swipe at the Landorus. But a tricky situation here. Very tricky. So I will do the Sky Attack wouldn't have KO'd, so they're going to be able to outpace me, which is a little bit unfortunate here. I will do 1 and throw the Sky Attack. This Sky Attack doesn't quite KO, so I'd be able to farm down. I elect to shield. I could have thrown at bad timing here, but I like to want to try to keep switch. So my best chance to keep switch here is to throw at good timing. So we'll throw this move. And they actually end up, and then here I end up over farming by 1 just to throw off their counts in case they let me get to the move. And let's say they give me the sky attack, they elect not to throw. And this actually ended up paying off for me because I just barely got to the sky attack and forced the shield onto this Dialga, or they'll still lose all their energy. Come to Rhyperior. I will survive this move, but they will end up unfortunately make it to another. They will make it to another one, and this will take me out. And we will see if Dragonite can pull this off. I just wait for them to throw, and I'm assuming they're going to Sacred Fire me. And they do end up throwing the Sacred Fire, which I thankfully don't get debuffed. And then I throw the Dragon Claw at them, and then I just need to take the Ho-Oh out. So I will do 3 more Dragon Breaths and then take out the Ho-Oh, and then I can easily Dragon Breath down this Dialga and end up finishing off this set, going 5-0 into my Elo reveal, and that worked out pretty nicely for me. So anyways, we're going to end the video here. Thank you very much, Jonkus, for showing me this team or posting on YouTube and me getting inspired to use it. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.